Hello everyone, today I wanted to bring you guys a video of how I make leaf-shaped pendants. So I start out by making a sharp taper on the very edge of my anvil, not using the horn so that it's a very sharp taper, and then angling that piece of metal at close to a 45-degree angle, and then hitting it at the same angle with my hammer. So you saw there it was pretty quick, you can do it in one heat. And then what I do after that is I take about a 3/4 of an inch or so and put it over the side and then isolate it using the edge of the anvil to then draw out the piece right behind it so that it kind of is separated or isolated from the rest of the metal, and then that drawn out piece there will actually become the stem of the leaf later when we use that for decorative purposes. So you got that isolation there. You want to leave a good amount of meat there because then it can get, the next step, it can actually be prone to cracking if you don't have it quite thick enough. So then I use the flat side of my hammer to flatten that isolated piece down to how thick the stem part is right now. And then after that, I'll begin drawing out the stem. So I actually decided to speed this part up because drawing things out is actually the most boring part of blacksmithing. It usually takes the longest time in a project to draw it out. So as you can see here, though, I'm drawing out this piece for a little bit, and then to get to that section right next to the leaf part, that real thin spot, I wanted to make it a little bit thinner, so I bent that leaf over so that I could easily access it over the edge of the anvil. So then here again, I'm just continuing to taper out the stem, make it really thin. I like to make the stems of my leaves really thin because it's better for the decorative purposes later. I'm also going to use it to make it so that it can be used as a pendant. I'll put a little loop in it at the very edge, but that'll come later. So what I do to shape the actual leaf itself is I take that flattened piece on the very end, and then I bevel it like I would a dagger, so that there's a ridge going through the center, and yeah, and it will result in a sort of heart shape or a leaf shape. And then you can also, if you want, use a cross peen on it to texture it, but I usually don't do that. It usually looks better, to me personally. I think it looks better if you just leave it flat like that. So here again, I'm doing the final tapering of the stem. You want it to taper from the leaf, and then get thinner as you go down the stem, and then the very tip you want to be very, very fine, so you can do like a scroll on it. So that's what I'm doing here. So this next step is actually very important. It's very simple to understand. So since you've tapered that stem down, it'll be a four-sided piece of metal, and basically you hit the four corners until it's an eight-sided piece of metal, and then from there you hit all of the high-rising pieces that you can see, all the little like indents left from the hammer, and you eventually come up with a round piece of metal that you can then use to do the decoration. So here I'm making a taper on the very end. I just like to give it that extra little bit of flare right there at the end of the stem, and then I'll be curving it down and into a different shape. So as you can see here, I bent down the stem over top of itself, so it's overlapping, and then what next I'm going to do. I actually forgot a step here. I should have put a piece of metal at the very base of the stem so that when I bend it over, it created a hole that I could use to put a necklace through. So I actually had to go back and fix that later, which I'll actually show you guys what I did for that. So as you can see here, I've kind of bent it back out, and I'm actually using a screwdriver. It actually fell out, so I actually had somebody hold it there for me so that I could, just for ease of use, I guess. So I bent it around that screwdriver, and then he was able to pull that out. And then that was how I fixed that loophole issue. So then after that, I just went to my Scotch-Brite wheel on my buffer and cleaned it up a bunch, and it actually turned out looking really nice. So yeah, that's how you make a leaf pendant. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like and leave a comment. And if you have any suggestions for future videos or just how I edit my videos, I'm really kind of new to this, so any feedback is welcome. Thank you guys.